I'm Joshua Potts, Mr. Possible, always with the brother with the same mother. And here we got special podcast episodes for Two Black Runners, where we did an interview with Marko Cheseto at Running USA Industry Conference. It was a good time, Aaron. Just tell the people what they're kind of going to expect, bro. This interview was low-key fire.
Yeah, this was a fire interview. Also, are we having the interview we did with Patrick Stiegman on there, the ESPN?
Yeah,
guy?
that part's even a little bit even better, to be honest.
That's
so
what I
you
was
guys get
gonna
to see
say.
like a little bit. You get to see a little bit more background into us as well into that interview.
Yeah, it was super dope experience just from the gun, talking with someone from ESPN to start off and really like tell our story. Some of you listening already know, some of you don't, but Marko Cheseto, this guy is a comedian. He's a motivational speaker. He's low-key a pastor. He's a spiritual leader. Like, yo, like this dude honestly took over the podcast. I'm not gonna cap, but it was just so inspiring to see this man on stage going to work. You know, he was working the crowd. He was working us. Honestly, like I was so impressed. I was like, yo, his public speaking on a level that I ain't at yet. But I think you guys are gonna really enjoy everything he had to say, and you're gonna also like enjoy like the interview that me and Joshua kind of did separately too. But it's such a different vibe. Like, do you feel that? Like, it's such a different vibe when you're on stage in front of like 100 plus people.
Oh no, yeah, it was totally different. Absolutely, and just the fact of like of getting like interviewed, I think was the really cool part is that like Patrick went up there and interviewed us, and then we got to interview Marko, and then to feel like the reaction from the crowd when like we actually like said something like funny. I'm all like, dang, maybe we aren't just like corny people just like talking. So that really helps as well. So like it was a really good podcast. A lot of people loved it. Some people said it was our best podcast ever. So like I think you guys are gonna really enjoy it. People have been waiting for this. We wanted to get it out like right after the Running Industry Conference, but nah, it didn't happen. But either way, it's still here. It's still here, and y'all finally get to hear our interview with Marko Cheseto at the Running Industry Conference and Patrick Stiegman's interview of us at the Running Industry Conference. It's a weird mix, but you'll understand once we get into this and go all the way. Right, Aaron, you ready for them to watch this?
I'm ready, man. Also, shout out Pat. You killed it, bro. Appreciate all the questions you were asking us, bruh. But I'm ready for it. I think the people listening are ready for it too. Without further ado, let's do it.
Without further ado, we got to introduce these guys. This is a great session. We've never done anything like this at Running USA, and I'm thrilled that we're kicking it off this year with these guys. I want to introduce Joshua Potts and Aaron Potts. These guys run the podcast called Two Black Runners, and they're going to come up here with Patrick Stiegman from ESPN, who's been with us in the past and is a runner and such a wealth of knowledge. And then they're going to have an interview, the two brothers, Aaron and Joshua, are going to talk with Marko Cheseto, who has a fantastic story in his own right. So, gentlemen, come on up and let's get this thing plugged in and get the AirPods in because we're going live.
We on?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here, especially great to be here with these two young gentlemen who are incredibly impressive, and you'll find that out on your own. And if you don't, you can check it out every Black Tuesday. Did I?
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
You gotta yell it a little louder.
Yeah, you do better than I do. So I am Patrick Stiegman. I oversee global digital content for ESPN, and I am a runner. And happy to be among this group and have run in many of your races and hope to run in many more. But I'm also a consumer of running content and happened upon these guys. And I want to spend a little bit of time before we get into the podcast today, getting a little background on them and getting the perspective on a few things in the running world. As an established member of the establishment media, I've seen our ESPN global digital content grow at exponential scale over the globe. Over the last several years. But I think we've also seen through the power of social media, YouTube, Instagram, podcasting, the power of individuals to bring their own voices to their own places and expand the way we all consume content. There's no better example of that and fresh and fun example of that than these two brothers, who over the past almost 3 years, Joshua and Aaron have been entertaining, informing, and reframing the conversations around running via their running report, YouTube channel, and Two Black Runners podcast, bringing what I would say is an encyclopedic knowledge, passion for the sport, infectious sense of humor to fans everywhere. So you can read their bios on the app or in the book. I want to get into some more sort of substantive background. Just tell me tell this room a little bit, if you would, a little bit about your running backgrounds, what brought you into this, and who inspired you.
Yeah, I'll start. Being the older brother, I'll start about the running background. But we come from a big track family, so it's not just me and Joshua. We have an older brother, and we have a younger brother as well that is like a shot putter. So my dad was our coach growing up. You know, we ran club track. I started like in the 2nd grade, and the whole goal of us competing was to get a scholarship so we can get an education and go to the next level. And that's what our dad instilled in us and provided in us. Along the way, though, like, our dad is a super big track fan.
Yeah.
And we followed in that same footstep, and we just started getting super into the sport, watching everything on Flow Track and Runner Space, keeping up with all of the runners, and that's kind of just where like the love for running came from originally.
Yeah, and I started running when I was 5 years old, so like I was running when I was really inspired by Aaron and my oldest brother Caleb. The favorite event, the best event on the track is the 800 meters, and I really wanted to run the 800. Yeah, thank you. There's some big 800 fans in here, but like I really wanted to run the 800, so they sort of just motivated me at a young age to really just love track and field. In all honesty, like I remember being at home and like I would run back and forth in the hallway pretending like I was in the 4x1, like by myself. Like those were the type of things that's how much love I had for the sport. And then I ran in high school, ran through club, went to Junior Olympics, and then I ran at Cal State Northridge for a little bit, and then I was just at Mount Sac this past 2 years running. Then Aaron also ran in college as well as UC Pacific University, and he was like semi-pro with the Hoka Aggies as well. So yeah, we just love track and field. We still run time to time. Aaron believes that he can beat like some football players in a 400, and he thinks he could beat Kyler Murray in a 400. I'm all like, Aaron,
come at me.
I don't think so, bro. Like, he said he could break 5 in anything that he wears, and I'm like, Aaron, you can't break 5 right now, but it's okay. It's okay.
6:15 a.m. on the run. You can catch me. Follow me on Strava. Super Hot Pots. Just throwing that out there.
So you got into the media industry, if you will, by launching Runner Report and then the Two Black Runners podcast. And you've said that part of the inspiration for that was a lack of minority representation in media in the running world. Tell me a little bit more about how that's played out and what reaction you've gotten and what impact you're trying to make.
I think it really started because we were talking earlier, like every single morning, like waking up for school when we were in elementary school and we were all on the same roof, like we would always wake up, it was either our dad fixing pancakes and eggs all the time, and ESPN would be on that da-da-da, every single morning, that Sports Center, all the time. And the sad thing about it is that we never saw track on there. And I was thinking, like, we love track and field. Like, I know that we tell these stories and we have these conversations with our brothers all the time. Like, the big conversation before we started Running Report was all like, is it Delilah Muhammad's time or Sidney McLaughlin's time? That's a big conversation that we were having. Aaron thinks it's Delilah Muhammad's time, but I think it's Sidney McLaughlin's time. But that's a conversation for another day. But as I started the Running Report and everything, I was all like, I feel like running hasn't gotten to the level that it's gotten because we don't see the same type of characters all the time, and we don't see the same type of diversity in the running space, that we have people like Stephen A. Smith and like Stan Verrett, and the list can go on, even like Marcellus Wiley, all these people in the running space, Jalen Rose, that are like black faces just like us, aren't in running. And I feel like if that same swag, if that same feeling, if that same diversity from all different cultures was in the media space, it could get to that level possibly.
Yeah, think about Stuart Scott. You know, you're an ESPN guy. Think about how much that man really, like, changed the game, paved the way for everyone Joshua just named, and he made sports more fun, you know? And all of it comes to, like, as well, we were telling Allison, our uncle is a barber. We grew up in the barbershop, so everybody knows, like, barbershop talk, barbershop arguments. Like, there's 4 of us, so we're arguing every day about
All
who's
the
the best NBA player, you know, in the league and everything. Who's the best football team? So the way we present ourselves and we act is just like natural and authentic. These are the conversations that we have over the dinner table, arguing about Dalilah Muhammad versus being the best in the world, you know?
Well, I guess.
So you guys,
He's not the best right now, technically, but, you know.
I love the interplay. You can tell your brothers. So you guys tackle some very fun and light topics. You certainly tackle issues that are happening in the sport, on the track, but sometimes off the track and off the field as well. I'm curious. We were talking in an earlier session today about diversity in the running industry and kind of looking around this room, present company included, saying that we're not as diverse as we would like this room to be. Some of that's about representation. I'm curious what your take is on the representation or lack of representation among participatory runners in your average 5K, 10K, half marathon versus I've had the privilege at ESPN to cover a number of Olympics and track world championships, and you see the elite runners of color at the highest levels, but not as many out on the everyday road races. I'm curious what your guys' thoughts on why that might be and how we can correct it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that goes into that, really. We have to, go really, deep into history to really feel why do black people not feel welcome in these spaces? I think that's the first question we need to ask. Someone right before I came up on stage came up to me and asked, why is there not black people? How do I get black people to come to my race? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know where you live. I don't know what you're from. I don't know what your race is doing, but I don't know why it's not attracting black people. You know what I mean? But there has been and I think everyone here should, a plug, Running While Black, Allison's book. You're gonna read that. You'll learn a lot about what the black runner goes through, and because people ask me, there's black people that ask me, why are you running? Why are you running distance, bro? Why don't you come over with the sprinters? You know what I'm saying? You're not welcome there. That's basically what they're saying. So I don't know why, black people aren't coming to your event, to be honest.
I think one big thing, and a little bit of the backstory on it, and Allison was actually in this NPR video, but I used this with one of the assignments I did in college, I think, last year, the book Jogging that Bill Bowerman made. There's, nothing against Bill Bowerman or anything, but his archetype was a white runner, and kind of excluding black faces and black people from that space. And that back at that time, I think it was before then, but at one time, Oregon was a state that didn't have, you couldn't live there if you were black. So being that in the essence of where the running craze, the jogging craze came from, just the archetype of that runner just wasn't, a black runner or a Hispanic runner or an Asian runner wasn't going to be really welcome in America. But when you go to Kenya and the East Africans, they're dominating. And there is a connection for African American men and women when they see an East African on screen compared to just the African American that's running the 800 meters. That's why I love especially the 800 right now. Definitely for women, seeing a Thing Mo, Ajay Wilson, and Raven Rogers dominating. It's all this. We coming, and it's really great to see, and it's influential for the next craze of people. But then it's also seeing those East Africans do it too. It's all it shows that it's possible. It shows that those people inspires us. I know Aaron's favorite runner is Bernard Lagat.
100. And I think about I didn't really know anything about Ted Corbett before I went to go see the New York City Marathon, and I still don't know a ton about him, and that's a shame. I know a lot about Bill Bowerman, but I would say Ted Corbett has done just as much or more than Bill Bowerman for running. So maybe if I've been running since the second grade, why did I not know who Ted Corbett was? You could put that on me, but I bet you there's a lot of black runners like me that don't know who that is.
So that segues to my follow-up question, which is you talking about the archetype. There was a column that was recently posted on 3-Wire Sports by Alan Abramson, and with a provocative headline that said, "Track and field has a problem. His name is Steve Prefontaine." And I'm just going to read a couple of paragraphs here, and I want to get your guys' reaction. Alan writes, "Track and field's problem is, to be blunt, with the ongoing fetishization of the Prefontaine legacy. To be even more direct, this hagiography underscores the race and class problem that bedeviled track and field. He was a white middle-class distance runner. This is precisely the demographic certain elements of the sport in particular, much of the running press, celebrates to a disproportionate effect." I'm not asking you to give me a full breakdown on pre here, and by the way, Alan also praises the positive impact that pre's had, but it's sort of this domino unintended consequence of continuing to hold him up as the legacy for the sport may not be as welcoming to others to enter the sport. What do you guys think?
I'll say this to start off. Like, when I was younger, the first runner that I really fell in love with and inspired me was Jesse Owens. And that's because his birthday's on September 12th and my birthday's on September 12th. And I did a book report on him when I was in the 4th grade or something like that. And then the next runner I would say is Prefontaine, because I was a distance runner. So that was that. I think that's just really interesting though. And Prefontaine was the next one that I learned about because he was a distance runner, Nike, all of that and stuff. But that's something that I feel like we talk about a lot, because Prefontaine, yeah, I'm a distance runner. I understand. He is the standard of American distance runner, running with guts and stuff like that. But we know what Jesse Owens did. Come on now. That should be the face, you know? This guy stood up to Hitler. That's insane. This guy set 3 world records in one day. You can't. I understand Pre, but I don't understand why Jesse Owens isn't plastered everywhere. But I do think that can be a barrier, because it's defining, what is a distance runner, really. And you even see today, if somebody has long hair and a mustache, they're more loved. They're more loved than the other people. I don't know why. That is a fact, though, I feel like.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate, but it just is what it is at some point as you look at it, and you're all it'll never change. That's what you kind of look at. But I think the whole start of the podcast is to be able, because me and Aaron, we're not the fastest people in the world, but be able, if a black high school kid can latch onto our podcast, they just started cross country their freshman year, and for them to be inspired a little bit, just be I want to run all 4 years where I can be a black runner too. That would be great. Be able, I remember on our first episode, we talked about when we go to cross country races, I would look down the line, I would always give the black guy saw a nod, and in my mind, I'm I want to be the first black dude that crosses the line today. I'm gonna compete with you, and we're gonna try and get better together, and we're always supporting each other, because there's not as many out there in cross country, and that's just what it makes it really fun. And just he's the archetype, but it's definitely changing.
I also feel too, sprinters are so excluded from the industry and the conversation, because I say Prefontaine was the first distance runner, but he wasn't the first runner that I identify with. You know what I mean? Jesse Owens was a runner. Sprinters are runners too, and that's one of my things too. Is I feel we need to pull them into this space, into this room.
Focus group 1, you guys are making a difference. So I'm going to lighten it up with a couple of questions, and we're going to move on to the podcast. You said that my good friend Stephen A. Smith should be debating running on First Take every day. What's the message I should take back to Bristol when I tell our Sports Center crew and our First Take crew why what you guys talk about should be what we're talking about?
First off, the World Championship is going to be in the U.S., at Eugene, in Oregon. That's why you need to be talking about here. This is the opportunity to really skyrocket everything. And also, I know we've been talking black, ultra black, but in the sports world, and especially somewhere like Sports Center, in the sports world, the running right now is, there's so much positivity for black women and for black men as well, but especially black women who are dominating and pushing the envelope forward every single step of the way. We need to talk about that, just how we're advocating so hard for the WNBA in sports, women's track and field right now is so, it can be such a bright light in the world in so many levels. And I feel like that's why I need to be talking about. And there's great storylines. We're about to have Grant Holloway versus Ryan Benjamin in a 200-meter hurdles race that needs to be airing on ESPN soon, Chris. Like, it's gonna.
We're working on that. We're working on that. So, you guys have a lot of fun on the platforms as well. And one example that I really loved was pointing out 5 things that high school cross-country runners and college cross-country runners you think should be banned from cross-country, including no more water pit diving,
Nope.
No more porta potty challenges, how many people we can jam into the porta potty, no more addiction to the Garmin, where if it says 5.93 miles, you got to run till it gets to 6.
Yeah, come on.
No more compression shorts under your shorts. And this one I don't think we can control, but no more deer on the cross-country courses because they run into the runners. I'm going to ask you a few A-B questions, but anything on that list you'd like to expound upon here while I have you on the cross-country topic?
We need to keep our young athletes safe. Like, come on. We got to find the right courses to put them on.
Yeah, like these deers just be shooting out of nowhere. Like, come on, we gotta pay attention. There's meat directors in this room. Like, come on, let's be careful now. We don't want to get hurt. Deers, that would be scary.
And the porta potties, like, come on. Come on. We know what time we're living in right now. We can't be doing that.
All right, so I'm going to give you a lightning round, A or B. I'm going to give you a word, and you got to tell us which one, each of you. And if you want to expound upon it, you can do so. Distance or time?
Distance.
I would say, am I running now? Time. I don't really care about the distance.
Interesting. Wave or nod?
You said, wait, say that one again?
Wave or nod? When you see another runner on the street, do you wave at them or nod at them?
I mostly wave, to be honest.
I only nod.
Or ignore them.
Only nod if it's a fellow, 2 black runners.
Sprint or marathon?
I'm trying to do a marathon soon, so we'll say that.
I'm gonna say sprint still sprint.
Usain Bolt or Eliud Kipchoge?
Usain Bolt. Sorry, Kipchoge.
No love for Kipchoge. Sha'carri in 2022, hype or hope?
Hype and hope.
Hope. Before I was saying going into 2022 it was gonna be hype, but it's hope for me now.
What do you mean by hype versus hope?
Just the ongoing controversy and discussion of the suspension and whether she was fair or foul, all that conversation, or she's just going to get back on the track and prove herself.
I think she's going to prove herself.
I think proving herself will be a
she already
4th
has.
place finish though. Like, I don't think proving herself is getting top 3 at Worlds. I think proving herself is 4th place would be proving herself. Because I don't know, those Jamaicans are fast. So, like, that's gonna be hard. Man.
GPS or naked?
GPS.
Follow me on Strava, Super Ponce.
Christian Coleman, podium or not at the Worlds?
Podium.
Okay. Where on the podium?
First.
Excellent.
2nd. Trayvon Bromel's winning. So 1-2 USA.
Sweep. Treadmill or sub-freezing temps?
Oh, treadmill. Come on, man. Southern California, no.
You don't live in Connecticut and Wisconsin, where I'm back from. All right, for the record, Emma Coburn or Courtney Frerichs?
Emma Coburn, come on, she's gonna break the American record soon enough.
I'll say Courtney.
Just to be challenging?
And to give her some support, give her some love.
Okay. 2 more, headphones or inner voice?
Depends on the day, really, but I don't know.
Headphones. Depends how long the run is. Like, if I'm going for 12, then I need headphones. But if I'm going like 6, I can chill with therapy, but.
What's on the playlist? What are you listening to?
Sweet Dreams, it's definitely on the playlist. They Don't Care About Us by Michael Jackson's on there. Some Andy Mineo, some Willow Smith, Transparent Soul is on there as well. So diversifying a little bit,
Outstanding. Well, thank you guys for the time. This was great to get to know you a little bit. I think you can agree with me. A couple of impressive young men who are changing the industry at a rapid pace. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to you 2 guys because the star of the show today, Marko Cheseto, an incredible story, And as this room is going to get the benefit of seeing a live or a podcast recorded live with the two black runners and Marko. So thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so I guess it's our time to shine now. It's good to see us in session. So we're gonna take every single Tuesday we record. So we're gonna just imagine it's Tuesday because Aaron's gonna start acting erratic in a second, and you may not understand what's going on. So yeah, it's Tuesday. Just imagine it's Tuesday.
This is how I get my nerves out. And some of you might know the intro, so just yell it along with me if you do.
All right, you ready?
Let's go.
All right. I'm Joshua Potts, Mr. Possible, always with the brother with the same mother, Aaron Potts, Super Hot Potts, some of your favorite two black runners coming at you every single
Two black, Tuesday. Let's go. Give it up. And we are live at the 2022 Run USA Industry Conference. It's amazing to be here.
I'm surprised we're here.
Man. It's
crazy.
It's insane.
Yeah, it's really wild just to be here. I'm glad people are actually listening. I'm glad people are here live. It's going to be a really fun conversation. And yeah, man, we went to Universal Studios like 2 days ago. I think we're going to go to Disney World soon. It's really exciting to be in Florida. It's having a great time.
Yeah, bro. And the guest we have today, like the coincidence that this dude is from Florida is crazy.
Yeah.
And we've had him on the podcast before. That for those live, if you want to go listen to that, but he's done some crazy things.
Yeah. Let's just get into it.
Yeah,
Let's get into it, man. Going in. We got he's a several-time D2 All-American from Anchorage, Alaska University. But besides that, this man is awesome. He's a double amputee marathon world record holder.
Sir.
I'm talking about 2:35:55 at the New York City Marathon. That's a hard course. And he ran 2:35, breaking his own world record. Has done it several times. From Kenya, Marko Cheseto is joining us on the podcast. Marko, can you come up?
Give it up.
Sir.
Marko, man.
Is this on the one? Oh, okay. Found the right one.
How surprised are you to see us in person? Last time we saw you virtually.
I'm not surprised.
You're not?
No.
No?
Why would I be surprised? You know, for runners, there's nothing surprising because you're always doing a lot of surprising things. So you've been surprised until you're not surprised anymore. But yes, I am surprised to see you in Florida, but welcome to Florida.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. It's nice. I thought it was going to be way more humid.
Yes, it's going to be way more humid. It's only that you're here in the wrong time. You have to come the right moment to get the humidity.
I don't want to come at that right moment, to be honest with you. Like I'm cool with this. But let's go from this right here first, bro. New York City Marathon, 2:35:55, breaking your own marathon world record, and also 10 years from the day that tragic day when you had hyperthermia, lost your legs and everything, like 10 years from that and having that great accomplishment, 2:35:55. That was incredible.
Yes, it was incredible, but you know, there is this thing, I like to call it a human spirit. The limitations that we have, the imaginary things that we think is preventing us from doing great, are the things that we've convinced ourselves to be true. But if we could believe in our full potential, I think we can all run your 2:35:55. The irony for me though was, you know sometimes how we think we need everything in life to succeed? Like, oh, if you need to get from Florida to New York or to Kenya, you need an aeroplane. Or from this place to this place, you need this.
Yeah.
But then for me, I was like, what is the prerequisites for you to be a runner? What do you need to be a runner?
You need legs, right?
Yes.
You need legs.
How come this dude was able to run a 235 without legs? Because I think it's a lesson that we really don't need all the things that we think we need and we complain about that it's preventing us from achieving. And the other thing is, and I hope there's a lot of race directors here.
I think there is. I think there is. I think there is.
The part that I don't understand is, for some of us who have been to New York, there's a Central Park like down there.
Yeah.
And then that would be like an ideal place to finish a marathon, walk and enjoy yourself in the park. They decided to move it a little bit further to 72nd Avenue so that we could climb a hill like we've not run over 5 bridges. Like seriously.
Yeah.
Then you go to Boston. You know, Googling to see maybe, I was like, was there no any other route other than going up the Heartbreak Hill? And I found a ton of them. So then I'm thinking, what are they trying to test? But whatever they are trying to test, we proved that whatever route you point us to, we're going to go through that route. And that is true for anything in life too anyway.
So that's why you weren't surprised that we were here. It all makes sense. It all makes sense. You believed in us from the get-go. We appreciate that, Marko.
You know, the surprise, though, is like where I was born, Kenya, Alaska, and I'm here with you guys. That is the surprise. Look at that. And when you guys were talking about diversity, sometimes when we are doing things saying, I want to do something to benefit myself, right? I want to do this for my own good and maybe a few people that I know. I don't care about other people elsewhere. I don't care about this other race, whether they are doing good or not. But this is what I ask myself. I was not there when all these great things in America were done, but I'm benefiting from them. But then I remember, but even those who are living here today, they were not there when the great things in this country were made or done.
Yeah.
Then you think of it this way. Think of someone we don't even know who did something so beneficial, not knowing who is going to benefit from it. As much as we talk about how we want to change things, we always like to point fingers. If you guys, wherever you're sitting, point at me, you think you're pointing at me, but guess what? There are 3 fingers pointing at you, saying, hey, you're trying to say one person needs to change this, but your 4 fingers are telling you, no, you are part of the solution too. So the surprise is, how come a kid was born in Kenya, rural part of Kenya? People don't even use cars there. And for Joshua, who doesn't does Joshua have a car?
You have a car.
Oh, yeah, you need to sell that car. You can run long distance if you don't have a car. So there is no car in Kenya. But look at what we are doing today. Look at what I am doing today. Through a tragic story. I believe, had it not been for that frostbite that I went through, I don't think I would have had a platform to advocate what I am advocating now. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I would have had the courage. But the courage came from knowing how it feels like to be down there, like to be at your lowest point in your life. Even when I was running the New York Marathon and about to curse whoever organized it, like, why did you have to put these 3 more miles up a hill? But then I remembered, but this is to give you that belief in yourself that, you know what? However hard it might seem at that particular moment that you're in, there's always a finish line and there's always coffee at the end of every race.
Hey, that's why we brought you here, man. That's why we brought you here, because I feel like when we had you on the podcast first time, every single time you talked, I'm like, this man's preaching to us, Aaron. This man's giving us inspiration. This man's giving us nuggets. And I felt motivated after the last time we talked to you, and I'm feeling motivated again. Like, I want to run 12 miles right now. Like, that's how I'm feeling. But I want to go off of that. Like, you saying that your tragic story is you're able to build off of that. Like, I really feel like how you talk, it's a redemption story. It's a story of triumph, and you were able to get over this mountain. Like, where does that is that just from the tragic story? Is that did that start when you were younger? Where does that come from? That always being able to preach like that?
My dad, he passed away 2014. Had 2 wives, 20 kids. Wow. My biological mom had 11 of us. The other mom had 9. And growing up as a kid, I didn't see anything wrong with that. Not that there's something wrong with it now, but life was just so much fun. But I didn't realize, but now I can look back and see how challenging that was. And I like to tell people this. They're always asking me how fun it is, maybe. Or like, is it so much fun to be in Kenya seeing the elephant and the antelopes and all these other things? I say, do you guys want a true story of my first experience with an elephant? Busch Gardens in Tampa. I didn't see it in Kenya because the option was, do you want a shoe or you want a pair of clothes or you want to go and see animals? Because raising 20 kids was not a joke. Yeah. Then the tragedy came, and then I recovered from that. But then looking back at how I grew up, I realized that, life had molded me without me knowing that it was molding me. So combining those two, I had built grit, just growing up in this rural part of Kenya as a young kid going to school, no bus. You had to walk for 4 miles to go to school. But we were not walking on a sidewalk. You had to jump over a creek, climb fences, and walk, and uphill, downhill to school. So putting all those together, I can see now that, yes, this tragedy also built me, but my lifestyle growing up in Kenya also had built me, because it was not an easy life. Yeah. And there's something I brag about now that I tell myself, if I made it in Kenya, I can make it anywhere. Not that Kenya is bad, no. But, now I am American enough. I can walk 0.3 miles to go get something from a grocery store. Why would I walk it if I have my car keys with me? Unless I've lost them. Except though, this one thing. You know what? I don't want to say, but I'm going to say it. I park my car in a handicap in a running trail, and then I go run 20 miles.
Respect.
But it's a lesson too, because sometimes as a disabled person, they like to see themselves, when they see that sign, say a disability sign, there's some kind of messaging that convinces them that maybe I cannot do ordinary things or even extraordinary things that other people do. But yes, we can. There is that inner power. A lot of motivation for ourselves comes from the inside. I have never ran with headphones, ever, even when I'm running 26 miles. No, because I like to I like to zone it out. I don't want to. This is why I don't ride with it. If I'm listening to music, maybe streaming it live, or streaming music. Yeah. And then there's some buffering, then I have to stop and think, okay, now I have to fix this. I think that's a waste of time. When I hit that trail, it's me, my soul, my legs, the fake ones, and I'm going 20 miles. But I know I don't need that extra motivation from outside because I have all I need in me. That inner power is in me. I can just switch it, generate it, all this. And that is where I plan on how to execute my next race. But then, it's not that I'm not a music listener. Oh, yeah, you should ride with me in my car.
What are we listening to?
Some Kenyan music.
Okay, I love that. But also, I wanted to ask you, Marko, like you talk about grit molding you, the human spirit. After the accident, recovering, like when did you start to like tap into that grit, that human spirit? What made you recognize, the human spirit within inside you and the boundless ends you could take it to?
I will dodge your question because I am a good mind reader. Look at all these people. Look at them. Just look at them. Look at them. They are like, why are you guys talking like we know the story about this guy? Right? What happened to him?
Yeah, let us know. Let the people know what happened. We'll get straight into it. Yeah, give your thing.
From Kenya to Alaska, 2008, on athletic scholarships. And while I was in Alaska, I convinced the coach up there in Alaska to recruit one of the kids that I knew from home back in Kenya. Was brought in 2010. In 2011, this kid committed suicide. He hanged himself. He called me asking if we could talk. It was a Friday, February 18th of 2011. But I didn't have time to go, and I didn't know what he wanted because he was just like, hey, can we talk? And then we went back that night to the apartment, and we couldn't get in because he had locked the room from the inside. And we usually didn't lock that apartment because it's college students' apartment. What would you steal? Some running shoes and stuff? But then, we had to call the police. We spent a night in a friend's house because, there was no reason to believe that someone was in that. But we were wondering why was it locked. So the following morning, since we had not seen him, the police came, broke into the room, but then they came back and said, William has hanged himself. And that was me now thinking of what I could have done. I started the guilt moment now started coming. I should have done this, I could have done this, I should have, trying to see what was more important, what I was doing or maybe going and speaking with him. But I didn't know what he wanted because my guess was, maybe he found himself an American girlfriend and he wanted approval from the elder brother. That's exactly what I thought, actually. Mm-hmm. But then I didn't know it was something like that ended that way. But so that guilt just hit me so hard, and before I knew it, I was like really, really depressed. But I denied that I was depressed. An African man accepting that you are beaten and depressed? No way. So I pushed myself, but people around me realized that things were not good for me. So they took me to a psychiatric unit for evaluation, and they prescribed antidepressants for me. So that summer 2011, that fall, winter came in. November 2011 took a ton of antidepressants, like I don't even know how many, like a lot of them, and went for a run. Then I woke up in my sleep and I was like, where am I? I was like under a tree and like snow had covered me. For some of you from the northern states, you know how it feels like in November. So I was half frozen. Luckily though, I was in a wooded area where I was able to stand up, kind of was able to support myself, and I luckily walked the right direction, and I ended up in a hotel lobby. And this is where I knew how long I had been out. A guy at the lobby asked me at the lobby, where have you been for 3 days? Wow. So then I don't remember what happened to the hospital, and then 3 days later they said they had to amputate my feet. And that is one of the hardest things that I've been asked in my life to make a decision about. Being asked, are you ready? I was not even given an option. It was like, yeah, we have to do this because gangrene was setting in and I was having blood poisoning.
did you have like any, in that moment, like, was your coach around, your friends, when you had to make that decision, or were you just in the hospital by yourself?
I was in the hospital by myself.
Like 23, 20?
I was 28 at the time, but it's not like I was prepared for something
Yeah.
like that at
Yeah.
28. And my dad was still alive then, my mom in Kenya, and I'm thinking, what should I do? And then I'm sitting there going, how am I going to deliver this news? And I was still thinking about my mom. I knew my dad would take it, maybe. But then I was like, how am I going to break this to my mom? So I called my dad and said, Dad, I'm doing good. I'm in good spirits, kind of. They are going to maybe cut a few of my toes. I was ready to tell my dad they're going to amputate my feet below the knee, but then I was like, no, I don't want him to. I just want to start from the toes and then come to the, then up. Until, I was trying to give him some, shock absorbers.
Yeah.
So the amputation was done November 17th. And I told him, do not tell mom this. Luckily, my mom doesn't read. So I knew she was not going to read it on a newspaper anyway. I said, just make mom too busy. Let her not see a picture of anything. So amputation, and then it was in the hospital, maybe like 5 days after the amputation, that I started feeling better, just weirdly. And I didn't want to tell anybody because I was afraid if it was truly a good feeling or it was just me now going like farther south. So I said, no, but I held the belief that I'm feeling good. And, questioning myself, why am I at this stage in my life? Why am I here? And I realized I'm there because I was grieving about my cousin who had committed suicide, and I should have done something. But then I asked myself, but if you had control over things in life, would it have been yourself? You would have prevented amputation of your feet. And it was at that moment that I realized in life that, you know what? I think that's true. There are some things in life that you might not even have control over. Just like now, you're going to be this guy who is going to be rolling on a wheelchair and doing some wheelies. What else do you have in this life? And I told myself right from there, I don't want to hide this. I want to share my story about what I went through to make sure that people understand that you can go through a lot of challenges in life, but heck, you can make a living out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of people, and then I didn't question it so much. I said, I'm just going to be this inspiring person. I'm going to be talking and inspiring people and telling people you don't need to run only 800 meters. You can run a marathon, and you don't need your music. You can just run without music. Like I do some crazy things in life. Just make it fun. Just make your own fun life.
Yeah.
And I tried to do that. I embraced that, and I did it. And I really, really started speaking about depression because this is the part that I've been to, a hospital for some other issues. But I remember the questions that I got asked. And, thinking of it now, it makes me feel sad. A psychiatrist asks a patient. And I'm not saying this is what you are about to do. I'm just pretending I'm a psychiatrist here. And they say, hey, Aaron, why did you want to kill yourself? And this is somebody we want them to recover, and we are telling them you wanted to kill yourself. I think messaging is very important. The way we present our messaging, the way we ask questions, the way we encourage people to run. You know how I encourage people to run?
Oh.
We are paying insurance. Your premiums are really high. Life itself is so high. Gas is so expensive. But still, your insurance, you'll have to keep paying for it. But even when you go to the hospital for some other issues that could have been knocked out by you exercising and being fit, you still have to pay your insurance, your premiums, which will be slightly higher. I know you'll be panting so hard when you're running, but it's cheaper. It's the cheapest way to live. It's so cheap. Yeah. The only thing you need to do is maybe slightly bend down and just do some deep breathing, hyperventilate for a little bit. That's all. And you'll feel better for the rest of that day if you do it. So I think it's that messaging that, as a mental health now advocate, yes, particularly some of us who are not about to go cuckoo right now, we have to help somebody who is struggling by asking them the right question. Be like, yes, Joshua, I know you are going through a lot of struggles right now. And whatever ways you think you are trying to solve this, I don't think that is the best way. Because guess what? If you took those out, look how.
That was a nice catch.
Hey, I could have ruined the mic. Look at what you could do to yourself. Being out for more than 56 hours in the cold. Yes, we understand you're grieving about your cousin, but you could have talked to somebody. Just maybe ask a friend to go for a run with. But now, tell me, what do you feel today? How are you feeling? Not, why did you want to kill yourself? Because I wanted to. No, because human beings are creatures of survivals. Right now, if a fire alarm goes off, what are we going to do? Where the exit is, that's where we are going. Because, so whatever people do sometimes, though, they're trying to survive. They're trying to survive that particular moment. Mm-hmm. So that is my story. So I recovered from that. Look now how relaxed our guests are. They are very relaxed. They know the story now. So that is how I motivated myself and encouraged myself to come out of that. Being able to be proud of myself and walk around and be like, look at this. The only thing that I need to be taller than you is an Allen wrench, and I can make myself taller.
I love to hear it, and for you to be able to bounce back and to continue running, it's just beautiful. It's poetic, and it's great to see. I remember when me and Aaron, we seen you at the New York City Marathon just run by, on that, talking about going in Central Park and you running up those hills, and we're like, dang, this man moving, you next to Shalane Flanagan, and you be able to get through into that. It's amazing to really see. But as you went in back to running after your amputation, you were sprinting at first. You were running the marathon straight up, you're competing, you were sprinting because the spaces for you for the marathon weren't there, particularly for the Paralympics.
So the Paralympics doesn't have marathons for my classification. So immediately after my amputation, I tried to be a sprinter, which I was. I ran my 450 seconds. So
okay.
That's good enough for
that's nice.
Long distance guy.
5-0?
Yeah, 5-0.
Aaron, you got that?
Well, I don't know. He might get. He probably got me. He probably got me right now. To be honest, we gonna.
So I did that. 2016, I was not able to go to Rio because in 2015, I went to drag relays in Iowa. My wife then, her due date was 3 weeks from the day that I was in drag relays trying to get some time to qualify for Rio. Mm. And a friend of mine calls me. She's like, yeah, your wife is at the hospital. She's having the baby. Like, oh, what? I was trying to get back to Anchorage, and I couldn't because all the flights that I was trying to would get me the same time as my original flight. So I waited anyway. I missed her delivery by 3 hours. So during the Rio, my wife had a scheduled C-section. And it was debating between now missing these other ones, delivery, and going to Rio. So that, and then also during that time, I was still a Kenyan citizen. So I was representing Kenya, and there was some financial issues with the Kenyan Paralympics. So it was an easy decision for me because now I had this decision to make to just be there with my wife. So after the 2016, something in me, even when I was sprinting, was telling me I need to do the long distance running. So then I decided to switch to long distance running. And just because I had a feeling that I think I can, I had more in me on that. So I was in Alaska, but I was coming here in Orlando for my prosthetic fitting. So talking to the guy that, the prosthetic and orthotic associates owner here in Florida, told me, you know what? How are you going to train for a marathon in Alaska? So then I was like, how are you going to train for a marathon in Florida? It's at sea level, but I'm glad I made it. I made that decision to come to Florida because it was then that I came in summer of 2018 and then did the New York City Marathon that fall. Ran my 2 hours 52 minute. Then that's how I was now on a roll of like, you know what, if I can break sub 3, I think I still have a lot in the tank. So then here I am now doing the long distance. But talking about that experience of the limited chances that are there in the Paralympics. Opportunities, I know we have to go out and seek for them. But in the running world, running community, I think if we provide more avenues, more opportunities for everyone, a lot of people would come from their hiding places because there is something that they are going after. You cannot admire that is not even there. Like, how can we admire something that doesn't exist? Or how can you set a goal about something that doesn't exist? I remember 2019.
Was it October 13th, 2019? When Eliud Kipchoge broke 2, Bridget Koskei broke the world record.
Yes.
And you break the world record too for WMPTs, but.
Yeah, so I ran and I finished the Chicago Marathon. And even when I brag here that I can motivate myself, sometimes I like people to give me a little bit of like, you did it. I know I did it, but I crossed the finish line. Luckily, I went with my wife and she gave me a hug and said, you did it. And I said, I just ran a 2:37 and she's the only person who is proud of that, nobody else. But then I was thinking about like the media, the race organizers, and I was like, it's not like I wanted someone to come to my house to give me that hug. I didn't want the media group to send their film crew and everybody to my house. Yeah. I just wanted to just take pictures of me right there and just put a slight headline saying, a guy without legs finishes Chicago Marathon 2:37. And not because I want to hear that, so that story can inspire someone out there who will be like, wow, I just thought my knee was giving me some trouble. This guy doesn't even have a foot.
Yes. Yeah.
That is all
we
are asking. Like we were talking about Jesse Owens.
Yeah.
Like, why is he not a talk of the century? Because nobody is putting the story out there. And there's nothing, I'm not against Prefontaine. Mm-hmm. It's not his fault that people are talking about him. He's been given a platform. So yes, of course we will know about him because there's a place, if you want to read about Steve Prefontaine, or you don't even need to read, you just need to watch your television during track seasons and wait, somebody is going to mention them.
Yeah.
So that is what I felt like the next, and I was telling you, remember, in the podcast, and you guys helped me because I was in this dilemma of, do I need to start pushing this or it's going to be sounding like I'm complaining? But you told me, no, it's not complaining.
Yeah.
It's creating awareness. And then I said, yes, English is my second language. I didn't know about that. Now I do. Creating awareness. Making sure that I'm a believer that people will remember personal stories and they will be inspired by personal stories. I was waiting for people to clap that they are inspired by my story. No. I was checking if people are listening. So I believe that personal stories change lives. They really do. I watch a lot of speakers myself who have their personal stories. They have had comebacks in life. You know, I am not a golfer, but Man, that Masters Tiger Woods I was like, whoo. I watched that, I was so nervous, and then he won it, and I'm like, man, I didn't know. What are the rules of golf? I don't even know anything. But just the story itself of a comeback, I didn't care who was playing it. It was just that human spirit that, you know what? I read it somewhere that one journalist had said when he had something that this is it for him, but he proved that person wrong by saying that was not it. And the story that I take from personal comebacks like that is, look at what I can do. I can take that and look at what I can do. If I put my brain there, I put my head, my body, everything, my soul there, I can do it. So that was why I was like, I think we still have a lot to create awareness. You know, previously I used to think we still have a lot to complain about.
Yeah.
Even after finishing New York City Marathon, or not even that, Boston Marathon had their first para category 2021. And I was expecting to hear from the big media houses saying, let's now see the lineup of these para athletes. It was not, and they were there. The only thing that they needed to do was just pan the camera to this group of para athletes and just say one word. These are people who have overcome some odds in life. You know, the ESPN guy says, this guy needs to go to journalism. I am thinking about it. So so that is what I think we need. Because look, we can talk about so many things that we want to change. But if we don't do them, do you think we will change anything?
No.
We need inclusivity. We need coverage. We need media. We need this. What if we don't? What if nothing is done? Do you think we will get somewhere?
And that goes back to what you were saying at the beginning of the podcast, too. You got to go out there and do it. You got to be able to believe in yourself and have faith that you're going to do this. I feel like that's what we've been talking about throughout the entire conference, especially at the beginning and this morning, too. But we have about 5 more minutes or 3 more minutes, then we'll be out of here. I just want to make sure, because I know Aaron about to go off, too, right now.
No, I just wanted to say, too, it's like knowing that, because you said, I didn't want to complain, and it's recognizing that, your story matters, regardless. And people recognizing you and, your story matters will carry on to other people similar to you in that same situation, but it's still going to inspire people who are different than you. And it's going to be like, oh, I want to know what Marko is going to run. Is he going to break the world record at Boston? That should be something talked about. And I feel like Joshua was saying, you broke the world record the same day as Kipchoge and Bridget Kosgei. And what you ran was insane. It wasn't no slouch. 235 is insane to run. So your story matters just as much as those. And that needs to be recognized, I feel like.
But I think, too, the challenge that we face, and the challenge that most athletes face is, when we try to create that awareness, there's also the repercussion from that. I'm not saying I've been punished for speaking about what I'm speaking, but most of the time, these people are just left there. Nobody covers about them because they complain, and then we just leave them out there. And then that story just dies that way. But I think this is how we can do it. We can start it here today by taking out your phone. You have your phone somewhere there? And then go to your Instagram and then type Marko Cheseto and follow me. There, next time when I do something,
I got that.
I got you already.
Share it with friends, and I think we can start from there.
Yeah,
No, I think so, too. I think you can also follow me on Strava, Super Hot Podcast.
Stop.
I'm just playing.
But then, the beauty of running, for me, it's therapy. That's where I go and unleash all my insanity.
Yeah.
on the trail. Just run and run and run and run. And, you know, the importance of creating that awareness so that someone else can understand that, you know what? It's one of the cheapest sports. Even guys without legs can do it, you know. You don't even need the most fancy shoes to be a runner. As long as you have shoes that will not cause an injury, you can run. And running, though, you know, there's this, and I still think that way too, but running is not about speed. People think when they say running, they say, I'm not fast. I'm saying, man, even if English is my second language, a definition of running is not fast. Running is going faster than your walk. If you walk slow, walk faster, and then that becomes your run. We are not running saying I want to run a 2:30. You know, we have to be honest and to ourselves.
Yeah.
You can't run a 2:35 if you can't run a 2:35, but you can run 8 hours. Marathon pace, but I'm not saying run 8 hours like in one day. You can run that over time. And then we build on it. And this is a fact. I have not done any research, but it doesn't need a research. I know this for a fact. There is no other sport that can be done without running. And even if it's a sport that is done without running, and you're running late to the venue, you have to run to the venue.
Thank you so much, though, Marko, for joining us on the Two Black Runners podcast. We're just two black runners with Marko Cheseto. Thank you all.
For Aaron and Josh and Marko, yes. Keep it going for Aaron, Joshua Potts, Marko Cheseto. That's one.